investigations and other international partners. And now, another update.
I have already written, and as I said I would do on Monday, to seek international assistance with forensic auditors to ensure that the 13-year mystery can be unraveled. And we're not looking for handouts. We are prepared to pay for those resources with our own budgetary resources.
Dr. Clark adds that SSL is a crisis for Jamaica, but there are opportunities.
The first opportunity is to demonstrate that Jamaica is a serious country where if you defraud investors, you will be caught, you will be brought before the law, and you will be punished.
Another opportunity is to increase regulatory oversight. Under the new model, the role of the Bank of Jamaica BOJ will be expanded to include supervision of securities dealers and the Financial Services Commission FSC, responsible for market conduct and consumer protection. BOJ Governor Richard Miles is now chairman of the FSC.
At Bank of Jamaica, we accept that charge that we have to prepare to supervise the entire financial sector. So I have no doubt in my mind that we have the core competence to handle the enlarged portfolio. However, I know and I approach this new challenge with humility, because the sector that was outside of the DTI is even larger than the DTI in terms of assets that they manage. And so, as I said, with humility, we accept that challenge. We know that we're going to have to depend a lot on the FSC and the skills and expertise that exist there.
Mr. Biles adds that the BOJ will also tap into the expertise of individuals at the FSC. He responded to concerns from industry players that the BOJ will be too strict.
At the Bank of Jamaica, I'm not going to be insensitive to the nature of the sector that we are about to supervise. All that I can say is that so long as we comply with reasonable rules, so long as we manage risk, I don't see a problem. I think we will have an excellent marriage.
Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.
The lead attorney representing Antigua's Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, Jamaican Anthony Armstrong, is accusing the local DPP office of undermining the Committal Proceedings Act and of perpetuating the abuse of process against his client. Attorney Hugh Wildman hurled accusations at the DPP as he sought to move the matter to the Supreme Court this morning. More in this report.
Mr. Wildman argued that his team was only notified about the action last night and that his client will be inconvenienced and embarrassed by being rearrested. He said Mr. Armstrong's surety was unavailable. Mr. Wildman described the DPP's decision as discourteous, oppressive, and arbitrary. He also accused the DPP of depriving his client of his right to have the parish court judge determine whether there is a prima facie case against him. Mr. Wildman stressed that the matter had been set for him to make submissions for the judge to make a ruling on the case. But his accusation did not stop there. Mr. Wildman said he is accustomed to the DPP's office being an institution overtaken by sensationalism and headlines. He made it clear that while he's not asking for special treatment, his client, who was a prosecutor in the DPP's office, should not be treated in that manner. Mr. Wildman lamented that the principle is wrong and that if it was left up to him, he would file a judicial review to quash the case. Replying to the accusations, the prosecutor rubbished Mr. Wildman's claims, revealing that a request was made last Friday by the clerk of court. The prosecutor said immediately after receiving the complete file yesterday evening, Mr. Wildman and King's counsel Peter Champagne were contacted. insisting that there was no calculated attempt to embarrass or inconvenience the accused persons. The prosecutor said the decision to transfer the case was unavoidable given the circumstances. In the meantime, when the case was called up in the High Court, the media was not allowed inside to cover the hearing. The registrar told reporters that the sitting judge, Justice Leighton Pusey, doesn't usually allow media in first hearings as he's not certain what will be said. However, reporters were told that bail was reinstated for Anthony Armstrong and his co-accused Shelley Perk Campbell. They are to return to court on March 22. Raquel Porter, TVJ News.
A man who stole his brother's identity has been arrested and charged by police attached to the Revenue Protection Division, RPD. 34-year-old Errol Anthony Bagel, a fisherman of Frontier in Port Maria, St. Mary, is facing 2 counts of forgery, 2 counts of uttering forged documents, and 1 count each of obtaining a forged driver's license and conspiracy to defraud. It's alleged that he stole his brother's identity and used the information to get a driver's license. The RPD says police uncovered the fraud during a spot check. After checking Tax Administration Jamaica's database, police discovered that the image on the driver's license Mr. Bagel gave them did not match the one in the system. The RPD was contacted and its investigations into the matter proved that on July 7, 2022 and August 29, 2022, the accused went to the Port Maria tax office where he applied for and obtained a general driver's license in his brother's name. He was arrested and charged and subsequently offered $100,000 bail. He's set to appear in the Port Maria Resident Magistrates Court on February 9, 2023.
A bucket truck is how the police believe thieves made off with the lights from the Negril sign in Westmoreland earlier in January. And as Jamila Maitland reports, there have been similar thefts in the past.
It wasn't strange when Marcia, as we'll call her, saw men hoisted in a bucket truck one evening at the Negril sign at the border of Hanover and Westmoreland. According to her, she thought they were working on the lights that lit up the sign at nights. Days later, the lights were reported stolen. And as it turns out, thieves have been targeting streetlights in other areas, which Battalion Richard Wallace says poses a danger to motorists.
The area between Orange Bay and Negril, that long stretch there that's dark at nights, also is an issue and needs addressing. I know that the Hanover Parish Council had put some lights there and they were stolen. And that is an issue that we need to solve because obviously somebody's going around stealing lights.
Executive Director of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, Kerry Wallace, who's responsible for the maintenance of the sign, dubbed part of the Jam Iconic Experience, said at least $500,000 is needed to replace the lights. However, the TEF won't make the investment without the systems in place to protect it. During a recent Destination Assurance Committee meeting, the police says cameras will be installed in the area when remains unclear.
Believe it or not, I'm actually at the Negril sign in Westmoreland where tourists and locals have been flocking the attraction. Now I'm going to ask my cameraman to turn on the lights so you can actually see me. And the area is pitch black and it has no street lights or reflectors. It's why the business community say it poses a danger at nights.
Now, hoteliers argue that the tourism hub requires much more funding from government.
And we understand that there are country roads and, there are areas that aren't populated and it's not a residential area necessarily. But we believe that if the roads are safe, that's the most important thing. And in order to make the roads safe, we need to make sure that the surfaces are safe. There aren't potholes and dangerous bends and areas of danger that cannot be seen. One of the things that would help greatly with that would be the presence of cat eyes in the roads.
But even the cat eyes, which are the reflective pavement markers, get stolen. Communications spokesman at the National Works Agency, Stephen Shaw, says aside from them being worn out, they're removed by truck drivers who placed them on their vehicles. Others have reported seeing the reflectors on handcarts.
I see persons having them attached to vehicles and the push carts and things like that. I'm not really sure how they got them, but it would seem as though it's popular and it's used to decorate their the vehicles or their push carts. I'd like to think that they ought to be properly used in the roads.
And so, the dangerous cat and mouse games continue in the multi-billion-dollar tourism hub. Jamila Maitland.